Hey, what's up guys, this is Yeoey, and today I'm going to be doing a pretty quick tutorial on how I make smoke with particular. For most of my intros, it's a pretty cool overlay to use. So yeah, just make a new composition, call this whatever you want. I'll just call it smoke tutorial. Just make it whatever size your render is, or clips, or whatever you're using it for. I'll just go with 1280 by 720. Doesn't matter what the frame rate is for this. I'll just set it to 30 so it's faster. And duration, I'll just set it to 10. So yeah. Then just press Command Y to make a new solid. On PC it should be Control Y or something. Yeah, then you can just call this smoke. Make sure it's a comp size. It should automatically be the comp size, and doesn't matter what color it is, so just click OK. Then type in particular over here and double click so it comes on the layer, and then if you scrub forward you can see that it starts to generate particles in the scene in 3D space. So if you were to bring a camera and then just rotate or whatever, oops, it's in 3D space, which is pretty cool. You don't need a camera for this. So what we want to do next is just go to emitter, then keyframe this by clicking the stopwatch, press U to bring up the keyframes for the layer, and then set this to about 5,000, then go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 frames later, set this to 0, then zoom in and drag it back so that the last frame is on the first frame, so you don't see any of the particles being generated. They are already there in the scene at the start of the composition. So then you want to go to emitter type and change this to box, so the particles are generated in like an area rather than just from a single point. And you want to change the size of the box to 3000 by 3000 by 3000, so they are like backwards, they're like further away in the distance and they're quite near. Then you can just change the velocity to about 40 or 50 or 60, about 50, so it slows down a bit and there isn't as much movement from the particles. Then you can just close emitter, go to particle, then boost this up, the life, to like really high so that they never disappear. Then go to particle type and change this to cloudlet, then boost up the size to until like there are no black spaces, usually about 230 works. Then make the size random about 60, opacity random 100, and opacity about 1.3. So as you can see, it's looking quite a lot like smoke. That is kind of the basic smoke. There are a few other things you can do I'll look at in a sec, but what you can also do is, if you had a fiery scene, you could go to the colours and just change this to a very light orange so that it would blend a bit more, and you can also use the blending modes like add and stuff to make them a bit brighter. Nothing happens here because there's no layer beneath. Just change that back. And you can also go to, what you can also do is go to particle type and change this to a sprite, and then you could get a picture of some kind of smoke or whatever, and then use that as the particle, so then it might give a more realistic look if it's actually real smoke, and that tends to look quite cool, which is something you can do. And you can also change the color random a little bit if you want, just to give it a bit of color random, which sometimes looks quite cool. So then you want to go to physics and go to air, then change the spin amplitude to about 2, and turbulence field, change the effect size to about 200, and effect position to about 100. So then if you scrub forward, you can see there's quite a lot of movement and it looks quite a lot like smoke. What you can also do is you can change these around a bit. It doesn't really matter. I usually just keep them as default, but if you want to change them, that's fine. Just play about with it. What you can also do is you can just change like the wind direction. So say you wanted the smoke to be drifting upwards, you could just change the Y to a minus, and then it would look like smoke was drifting upward. But you would need to change the box so it was kind of over here, and then keep the particles being generated so that there are constant particles being made and drifting upwards. But yeah, that is pretty much basic smoke. There's not really much more you can do. You could add motion blur if there was a lot of motion with your smoke. It doesn't really matter. If you want, you can add lights and play about with the shading to try and get it to look a bit more realistic, but I tend not to do that because it doesn't always look very good. You can also do a fast blur if you want. If you think there's like too much texture with it, you can boost this up so it blurs. Usually about 5 works. Then repeat edge pixels and then it will look a bit more blurred. Yeah. I usually don't do that. I don't really like how it looks. I prefer it with quite a lot of texture and kind of harder edges. But yeah, that's pretty much all you can do. If you wanted it a bit brighter, you could add a glow or something, I don't know. And just play about with that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Leave a like and comment if you want some more. And I'll see you next time. Goodbye.